So a heartfelt thanks and gratitude to Dr. Swati Padoshi, who reached out to me for a session for our students. And Dr. Swati is a very good friend of mine. And on behalf of University of Stirling and SQA diplomas, a heartfelt thanks to you, Dr. Swati, for reaching out and introducing Dr. Mangesh Das. And on behalf of University of Stirling and SQA, it gives us immense pleasure to introduce all of you to Dr. RK's Mangesh Das, and he's got a phenomenal profile. He is an NIPM SB Mishra Gold Medalist for Excellence in HR, and Dr. Mangesh is an exceptional and experienced HR advisor with mastery in neuro-linguistic program and expertise in human behavior, and has demonstrated a masterclass of working in the corporate training, coaching and management industry for over 26 odd years. He's skilled in coaching, NLP, leadership and behavioral training, OD interventions, sales training and applications of NLP in different professional endeavor. And he is an internationally acclaimed NLP trainer, corporate trainer, coach, OD consultant, motivational speaker, and a professor in management, and is a graduate in physics. What a transformation from science to OB, and possesses a PhD degree in stress management, MPhil and a master's degree in PMIR, and he pursued quality improvement programs from XLRI, IIT KGP, and MDI Gurugram. He's awarded by the Indian Society of Training and Development for Research paper Distinguished Corporate Trainer Award 2020 by Besto Audurex, Visionary Leader of the Year 2020 by CEGR, and Global Eminence Award 2020, an Eminent NLP Trainer Award. And at present, he's the advisor and co-founder Torawan, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correct, and president of CHDNLR. And he is considered as a stalwart of NLP and its application in corporate practices. And people recognize him as the top NLP trainers of India. So how humbled we are. So heartfelt thanks, Dr. Mangesh and Dr. Swati. And the floor is open to you. All the very best.
Thank you, Professor Shanti. Blessed and gratitude. And that is Twaran.
Twaran. Okay.
And it means acceleration.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, thank you very much. I'm really so honored, Professor Shanti, for all your kind words. And thank you for all of you being here. And this phenomenon that we talk about, possibility thinking, has been on the discussion with researchers for quite a couple of years by now, maybe around the last 5-6 years. People have been talking about possibility thinking. So earlier we were talking about positive thinking. So we found possibility is more powerful in life of all of us. And people who have been thinking possible, like we always tell, if you have a, like when you take a photograph and put it in your Instagram or Facebook or anywhere, you use something called as a filter. When you put up that filter, so all of our appearance changes as per the filter. And imagine if your filter is possibility, then wherever you find challenges happen, the life will be so beautiful. So let me ask you a question. I know you cannot answer since it is on a webinar platform. So what you got to do, you got to just think about this. Whatever I'm asking you, you just keep on thinking and see how it appears. So as we're talking about possibility thinking, my question to you is that, what do you want to gain in your life? So I know you must be, all of you are getting ready for your placements. So if I say you get a very good job, and then what do you want in your life? I know some of the thoughts must be coming in your head, and this may be getting resembled. Dr. Swati, I think something in the chart window I can refer, right?
Yes, happiness.
Wonderful. I found, thank you, Archana. Yeah, I see something which is called
yes, sir, I can read it out for you. Lucine has written happiness. Archana has written, she has, let me just read it to you, sir. Peace. She has written peace.
Wonderful. And anything else, if you just can think of, like what you want after having your degree done, if you look for a job. And these are two words which is always close to my heart. Yesterday only we completed a course called EI and happiness. So this is very much in my heart. And if you find out, like after pass out your degree and in the search of happiness and peace, suppose you get a job and you are doing the job, and think of what you got to do. You get the money you want, You get the kind of a good job you want. You own your business. Suppose some of you want to do your own business. Maybe you own your own car. You own your own villa and the kind of life partner you're looking for. So everything good you are getting. Along with that, suppose a challenge comes, and the challenge says that, what if you get all these things? Along with that, what you feel from within, you just feel powerlessness. Suppose even if you have your dream car, but when in your life you feel powerless, sometimes you feel rejected, by people, or maybe sometimes you think, I have achieved something, but still there is more to achieve in me. So these three painful feelings, which is called as feeling of, not feeling that power within, or feeling of not people accepting and unsuccessful, are the three great feelings that makes people not to be successful in life. Therefore, whatever I'm going to talk about, if you use this will actually make you powerful from within. It will just make you very popular, as well as you can feel like an achiever throughout. So let me show you something and ask. So all of you know, if you open your palm, I don't know how many of you believe in palmistry. Okay, still if you open your palm, you will find there are certain clear-cut lines are there. And we name these lines are like one we call is the heart line, second is head line, third is life, and fourth is a fate line. So fate is otherwise called as luck. So if I ask, sometimes which line is most important to be successful in life? If you have a good heart, good brain, good life, or good fate. And most of the people I have seen sometimes are people that talk about that fate or luck is important in our life. So to be successful, people they believe that does not need to have a luck. Now, may I have your answer? Like, do you think to be successful in life, luck is required or it is not required at all? Wow, I guess.
So yes by Archana. Yeah, there is a yes in the chat box.
Yes by Archana.
And now Mr. Jimmy John says yes. Miss Vijayalakshmi says fate line. Abhini says yes. Lucine says not required. Archana has sent a smile, I think. And Parinita says yes. Saharji says yes.
Wow.
And Ramali, to a certain extent, Lucine, we create the luck.
I love this statement. Anandji, as no, Asma, yes, luck. So luck plays a role sometimes,
We create.
Now, if we understand what is luck, since I love mathematics all the time, so everything I love to convert in mathematical term, let me put it in a simple mathematical term to understand what is luck. So we say success is a function of some constants and some variables. Constants are the things which I'm completely assured of. I know I can control this. Variable the things which are not in my control. Suppose, say I got a job to work in a country, my visa, everything is ready, and Corona hits. So I could not travel. So, that is something which is called as a variable which was not in my control. Whereas there are constants which are in my control. People, what they do, they believe in possibility thinking what they do. They reduce the number of variables which are not in their control, and they increase the number of constants. So what they do, they actually make things to be in their control. When you bring things to your control, you become successful where the emergence of luck factor is very less. But if you make so many things not to be controlled by you, what happens? You depend more on the luck factor. Therefore, any professional education or training, what that makes us, it makes us that, things you should have been in control. Suppose a simple example I give you. Some of you are going for a job interview. And interviewer has got a psychology. If you do not understand the psychology that interview, gets to you or interview observes in you, maybe you will be more dependent on the luck factor. If your answer, interviewer's evaluation matches, you are going to be successful. But if you're trained, you know that these are the questions, this is how I got to behave. If you do that, things are in your control and you become successful. That's why any successful person in life, what they do, they increase the amount of factors that can be in their control and the amount of factor that can actually work as a variable. That's how the success is being measured and depends, and that's how luck plays a role. So that's why if I want that, I should not be the mercy of luck. Rather, I can be creating my own luck. What I got to do, I got to be trained, I got to be mentally resilient, I got to be powerful to take things into my control. And Dr. Swati, if you find something in the chart window which I'm not accessing, just let me know. If you find
Sure,
that we can just go ahead with that. Okay.
Done.
So now, yes. So now what we are doing, we just understand that when you are achieving, achievement is something we magnetize ourselves into our daily life by a law and not by a lock. And that law is a principle that we follow to live on. And those principles, it makes all the time to go ahead and achieve things which might appear at present little difficult, but these are definitely in our control. That is why what happens, we call in linguistics of NLP, whenever you want to achieve something, if the mental imprint is clear, if your mind sees the picture very clear what you want to achieve, you will definitely be achieving. I'm going to talk about this. Let's say if I ask you a simple mathematics, and I know some of you can do. So this mathematics is very simple. Let me see the answers, and you can put the answers in the chart window. The question is very simple. What it says that if one dump truck can carry 14 tons, then how many dump trucks are required to transport 140 tons at the same time? My answers are, the options that I'm giving you are 5, 7, 10, and 8. So can I see some answers if you would like to give it to me?
I said 10, 10, 10, 10. Most of them are 10.
Wow, I love it.
All are 10.
Answer is absolutely correct. Good.
Okay.
And also in the Q&A, I had 2 responses. So good. So here I see that all of you are very, accurate in mathematics. So I just clap for you because you are good in mathematics. Now my second question in mathematics goes like this. Read this and see the answer. If one man can excavate 1 cubic meter of soil in 1 hour, then how many men are required to excavate 10 cubic meters of soil at the same time? And my answers are, responses for you, the options are 5, 7, 10, and 8. Wow. Again, I'm getting the same answer, 10, 10, 10, 10.
10. Yeah.
Wow. I love this. You guys are really good. Now, remember one thing. When I tell this question, one dump truck can carry 14 tons. How many dump trucks are required to carry 140 tons? There is an assumption in my mind or head that the capacity of every dump truck and the output to be given by every dump truck is same. When we deal human beings, actually this doesn't happen. When we deal with human beings, if I'm using 10 people, maybe the work will not be done. Maybe 10 of them, they form a group, they say we are not going to work. Maybe all the 10 cannot have the similar capacity. Maybe out of the 10, 3 will work, 8 will pull their legs, 8 will not allow them to work. So human beings are really critical to calculate on a mathematical terms, because most of the time human beings, they just behave something which we have never expected. That is why when you talk about possibility thinking, if the way a person works, if the way I work quite matches with the way things are to be achieved, then only I will be becoming successful. So that's why one of the idea we believe here is people or man or human being are different from machines. We are not equal. A machine is designed properly, fueled properly, operated properly is going to give you results. But human beings are quite different, because human beings, what are the constructs human beings they follow while they achieve something is a bit different. Every human being has got their unique thoughts, their feelings, their emotions, their values, their interests, their capabilities, behaviors, and what else you can think of more, So that is why, even if I have everything, I'm positively poised, I have the values to achieve what I want in life, I have the correct emotions, I have the feelings, I have the interests, everything, still, the environment does not support me, maybe I may not achieve. That is why human beings are quite different when compared to machines. So When we are being human being, we want to achieve something in life, it purely depends on our mental imprint and mindset. And therefore, when we are going to achieve something, we are actually operated by certain external factors and certain internal deterministic thoughts of ours. So to have a little bit, more, insight into that, we can just look at like, therefore, to get the best from an individual, we got to align the individual into these 6 levels. Remember, I'm just showing you the 6 levels. The first level we call these 6 levels are known as the neurological levels. That's why if you have a goal to achieve, which it seems that it may be a little unique for you, or you have not set up a very ordinary goal for you. Say now you're preparing for your job and you want to get the best of the job at a best of the price, probably that nobody has thought of. It's just possible. Only thing is that you got to see, are you well placed in the 6 factors? First thing first, that does not allow an individual to get successful in anywhere the person wants to do something is the environment. Because what it does, environment has got certain conditions, certain challenges. Now, if you want to be successful, what you got to do, you must know what are the constraints, limitations you get in the same environment and how you can operate through. That is why the moment you find the environment is not successful for you, what you got to do is to actually learn what behaviors or actions you can take. If you know what behavior or action you can take, then you can control the environment challenges or the limiting factors which are there in the environment. That's why the basic is environment. If your environment is supportive, you have all the qualities, you can become successful easily. If the environment is challenging, what you got to do is you must know what actions you will take so that you can deal with this environment. So that's why we talk about something which is called as the second is behavior. Now, if you really want to take the actual behavior, the actions which will be successful, and you just for a moment, you think that probably you do not know what behavior to take. If you find a challenge in the second level, which is called as the behavior level, then you must see, do you need a training? Do you need a capacity building? Do you need a coaching? So, where you got to work is on your capability enhancement. So that's why the 3 subsequent stages we look at when the person wants to achieve something, looks at the environment. If it is challenged, then takes what extra behavior the person will be taking. Remember the 6 things, because when I'm going to tell you how people have achieved things, you will find they just worked on the 6 things. The second thing is called as a behavior. I'm poised to take the right behavior. If I'm not able to take the right behavior, I'm not able to do the right action, I definitely need to do something where I can increase my capability. And if you want to really increase your capability, then you got to take a training or coaching or any of the support mechanisms, maybe an education, something that you got to do. Even if after that, if you realize that you have the right capability, so it's not that you do not know the capability, you have the right capability, still you are unable to take the right action, then what stops you? So then you should really, really work on your values and beliefs. Because if you have the right capability to take an action, still you are not able to take it, that means something that stops you is your own beliefs and values. If you really work on your own beliefs and values, if you do not want that, it should not stop you. And like if you want to change your values and beliefs, still you are not able to change your values and beliefs, then something that works, stops you is called as an identity. And I give you an example, which I always keep on giving this example because I just loved it. Once it so happened, I just met a gentleman, since I'm a coach. So he happened to be the HR director of a company. So human resource development, he was the director of a very reputed company, in fact. So once while we are discussing, he was telling, Mangesh, I achieved everything in my life. I got the position, I got the money, I got everything in my life. Now I want to have my own business. I told, that's fantastic news, because the moment if you decide to be an entrepreneur, that is always welcome. He told, yes, I want to have my own business. Then I told, okay, that's very good. Then I asked him, what kind of a business you want to do? And this person then tells me that he wanted to do something which is called related to the food business, in the like something on the food, so that it can be done and it can be given to the people. Then I asked him, do you think the environment where you are there it will facilitate you. And this person is from a location in India called as Mumbai. So he told, yes, in Mumbai, it is really possible. So the environment was positive. I told, do you know what kind of actions to be taken to make it successful? He told, yes. I told, do you think that you have the capability to do that? He says, yes, I will take a team of people who are going to work and this is really going to good. I told, very good, fantastic. Then I told, do you believe that you really can be successful, or does your values allow to do business? He told, yes. Then I asked this ultimate question where he got stumbled. I asked him, now you're the director HR of a company. Tomorrow you decide that you quit the job and starting your own business. You will have an identity. Now you have an identity, then also you will have an identity. And how is that new identity you are going to like it or not? For a moment, the person thought and he told, Mangesh, I think the new identity will be a little painful for me. I told, how? He told, see, now I'm the director HR of a company. Wherever I go and wherever seminar, workshops, wherever I go, people, they are after me. And I get a lot of laurel, lot of accolades, lot of respect, prestige, popularity from people. The moment I quit my job and start a startup, I will be called as a struggling startup because there is so many competitions in the same food business. Maybe I will not get that honor or I may not stand in the crowd. The moment he was having doubt on the identity, then he came up and told, I think at present I'm not ready to do the business. That's why whenever you are really wanting to do something, and if you find in any of these levels, that is the limitation, you got to first work here. Then only things will be possible for you. And the ultimate, the last level that we call is the mission. If something you are deciding to do in your life that is not aligned to the mission of your life, maybe you will not get it achieved. That's remember the first rule of possibility thinking, like when you want things to happen, work on the 6 levels. And this is just like, one above the other. So that's why if you find there is a challenge in any of the levels, suppose there is a challenge in environment, you should work on the level up. You should look at the behavior. If there is a challenge in the behavior, you may like to work on the capability. That's why wherever you find you are not able to work, you just go to the level up, make the corrections there, then you will find the level which are below will be ready for you. That's why what we do is that knowing to align your goal with the neurological levels, because these are called neurological levels, and creating a mental imprint in your head. Yes, you are going to achieve that of becoming successful, so that each moment you get guided and driven by your brain to act. So if you can align it to the neurological level, you will be getting guided and driven by the brain to act that takes closer to your goal. So, every moment you will feel that, yes, you are going closer to your goal that you have decided. That's why always what we do, we keep big goals in mind, and every moment we feel like we're driven towards the goal. So this neurological level alignment is a big thing, because whenever we coach people, we get their goals aligned with the neurological levels so that the brain remains active and powerful to get things done for you. Now I'm just showing you some points what you got to do. So in the chart window or in the Q&A page, what you got to do, you got to write a number which 2 out of the 7 I'm going to show you, 6 or 7 I'm going to show you. You got to tell me which 2 touches your heart, or which 2 are very close to you, or maybe which one is very close to you, or you like to believe on those points. So I'm just going to show you 6 or 7. One is point number 1. You must find the place inside yourself where nothing is impossible. If you believe on this concept, then you can say, okay, 1 is favorite for me. So similarly, point number 2, I want to tell you is that, and if you find this is something that attracts you, you may say, okay, point number 2 is close to my heart. So it's the possibility that keeps me going, not the guarantee, like, because in life, I may not take things for guarantee, but if my mind is thinking possibility, then, maybe I can achieve things in a positive way. Third thing is that if nothing is impossible, is it possible for something to be impossible? If nothing is impossible, then will it be possible for something to be impossible? This is something I love a lot, point number 3. Then 4th is the possibility in every difficulty. There is a possibility in every difficulty. So if you find there is a challenge, if you get tired of the challenge, maybe you will not be successful. But if you think that it is just there is a possibility in every difficulty, then maybe you can achieve things. So think of which one is close to your heart. Point number 5, use your eyes to see the possibility, not the problems. So if you believe this one, like, let me see my eyes to see the possibility, not the problems, then maybe I will be becoming more successful. Then another point you may look at, nothing in life is a foregone conclusion unless and until it is foregone and concluded. So if it is not foregone and it is there for you, then you really can achieve. And then we say the point number 7, do not become so attached to any one belief that you cannot see past it to any other possibility. So that's why they say that if you want to achieve something, keep your beliefs to be modified. So if you find some of this attracts you, you can just write a number in the chart window. Let me see how many of you have got a common number and which is the most common number here. I see there is Mr. Victor has written 215, and I see 42, 215, 214. 1 and 4 is suitable. Okay, 721, 245, and like 5 and 6, 4 and 6, 3, 4 and 5, 3 and 5. Okay, 1 and 5, 5 and 2. 1 and 4. I think point number 7 is very less being liked. Point number 3, 1 and 4. Good. So what I say, the common beliefs that all of us you can love is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the 5 I see which has come, to a great extent. And mine is definitely, if you look at, there are 2 beliefs that I believe more. It definitely goes in alignment with you. My 2 beliefs are 3 and 4. So this, 3 and 5. These are 2 things I keep on believing. I also see, 4 is also coming up to a great extent by many of you. And here I also see anonymous. Okay, there is some participant who has written like 3 and 5. So mine are also 3 and 5, because these 2, I believe, the moment any successful person, they hold certain beliefs, that beliefs drives them to be successful, and that's where it may go. I can see Jarina writing 1 and 4 and 4 and 5. Okay, good. Some of these points are definitely are the points who are being successful in life by seeing that impossibility making possibility. So possibility is a programming of your head. It's a programming of your thinking. As you know, everything is a programming of your thinking. So possibility is also a programming of your thinking. So it is a programming of the brain and mind, because brain and mind dominant function is to think. As you know what happens, and you have seen the puppet shows, what happens in a puppet shows, the puppeteer actually controls the puppet. The action of the puppet is controlled by the puppeteer. Similarly, so like in a puppet show, the actions and behavior of the puppet is guided by the finger movements of the puppeteer. Similarly, in human life, likewise in human life, the actions and behaviors of the person is guided by the strategy that is structured in the mind. So whatever actions and behavior we are taking, it is actually guided by our thoughts, our mind. So whatever way we program our mind, that makes us to progress ahead in life, or that stops us, limits us from not progressing. Now, let me give you a simple task and see how many of you can do. So all of you can see a smiley dot on the screen. Can I get some yes if you can see this? A smiley dot.
We can,
okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. If you can see that, I'm just giving you a challenge. The challenge is so interesting. So what you got to do, this is a physical act. Let me see how many of you can really do it good, okay? And this is a very interesting one. So what you got to do, you got to, by the use of your 2 hands, you got to make a telescope, like that. How we make a hand telescope? We keep one hand like this and the other hand like this, okay? So you got to keep a gap between both the hands so that it doesn't touch. So you got to just make a telescope like that. It's a hand telescope, and the vision hole of the hand telescope should not be very big. You just make it smaller one, just like this, and hand telescope, and you look at, and there has to be a gap between both the palms. So what you got to do, make a hand telescope like this and look through this, the vision hole of the hand telescope, so that you can look at this blue dot. This is what you got to do. And second, what I'm going to do, then I will make this dot to move in the screen. When I make this dot to move in the screen, you got to also move both your hands together, so that for none of the moment you are missing the dot. So you got to make both the hands like this. I will make this dot to move. Then you got to make both your hands in a way that for not in a moment, for not even a single moment, you are missing this dot. So you are completely being observation of the dots. So this is the exercise. So I hope all of you are ready with your hand telescope. If you are ready, then I will be moving this dot. After that, I will ask you a question. How many of you continuously could see the dot, or some of you missed it some moment in time? So this is what we are going to do. All ready? So make your hand telescope ready. And now look at this dot, let it move. So it is moving now. Yes. Just keep on seeing that you are not missing it, okay? Yes, it goes again. Just see that it is not moving. And you are just not missing it for any moment. Just look at this, okay? Good. So now if I ask you, I'm just taking the slide out for a moment. If I ask you how many could actually keep it or how many could miss it, can I get some responses from you? You could miss it for a moment? No?
I missed it.
I missed it too.
I also get some responses where participants write, I missed it. Missed 5 times, okay. Missed sometimes, I missed it. So I missed it 4 times, okay. There is a Fatima written missed on a smiley. Then I said, Vijay Lakshmi, yes, I missed it 3 times. Just imagine. Oh, Mr. Alan James, I got it. You must be very good with your aim and all. So Mara said, I missed it 4 times. Friends, what happens? Imagine, we're just making a hand telescope, which is in my control. Both the hands are in my control. And the picture is moving. And it's just for about 5-6 seconds. We are not able to catch it, focus it. Imagine when it is not that easy, how a person could actually make it so easy. So if you look at it like a gun, suppose there are 2 guns I present. One is called as a telescopic dragon of sniper, which is very easy to, look through and aim. But if somebody gets an iron-sighted bolt action, sniper, it is not that easy to aim, because if you look at something through the aiming track of an iron-sighted bolt action rifle, which is called as a backside U and foreside knock, we actually got to align it. It somehow looks like this. When you align it like this, it somehow looks like this. And it is very difficult to keep aimed when you are aiming something on a sniper at a distance, because this has to come into center all the moment, and then this has to hide the object, then only your bullet will go and hit, and it's not that easy, because if we are missing this dot when it is moving with things which are in my control, still I'm not able to capture. Believe me, with this it is really, really difficult. But then there comes a man who made it all possible, because in his mind he has all the 6 levels set, and once he has all the 6 levels set in the head, when he looked at the target, he could make it achieve. I think many of you must be knowing this is a very, very popular person whose name is called as Khaimah. He was being nicknamed as the White Death because it is being claimed that in the battle, the Winter War, the battle name is called Winter War, that happened between Finland and then Russia. So when the war was happening, he is the single person who confirmed to kill more than 800 kills. And you know what happened? He is the person, Khaimah. There is a story, you may not read it completely, let me tell it for you. What happens? He buried himself in snow, and the temperature was about minus 40 degrees Celsius, which is very difficult. The environment was not at all supportive. So what he did, he camouflaged himself completely in white because he wanted to take some action. So the action, the behavior, if the environment is not supporting, you got to take a behavior where you really can manage the environment. So what he did, he buried himself in the ice. He just hid himself in the ice and in the snow. And that was about at minus 40 degrees Celsius. And this is not for a day or not for some hours. This is continuously for 100 days. If you find it so challenging, and this person could make it. And he claimed to kill, hundreds of soldiers of the enemy. And the enemy could never realize that it is a single person who is killing. They thought it is actually a war, but they could not believe it is a single person who is actually hitting on them. So that's why when their intelligence came and told the surgeon of Russia that it is a single person who is with a sniper, he sent a counter sniper. So what happened? the counter sniper was found dead. Then he sent a troop of counter snipers, everybody found to be dead because this gentleman can kill everyone. Then they actually sent a complete platoon troop to attack, and they found everybody's dead. And this guy, what he did, he just made himself to be completely camouflaged in white with minus 40 degrees Celsius. And when he found that his breathings may get condensed in the air and his location can be identified so that the counter snipers can kill him, what he did, he took a bit of snow in mouth and hold it so that the breathing did not get condensed. Then he realized that maybe because of the sniper, it may get when it is giving a backward thrust, it may disturb his location. That's why he completely packed his gun with ice. And with that challenging difficulties, when people they saw or they decided that it could not do, he has a belief, he had a faith, the level 4, which is called as a belief. He has a belief that he is just going to do it for the country. And then he loved with this identity and stayed there till the mission accomplished. So what happens on a particular day, which is called as 6th March 1940, suddenly a bullet came and hit one part of his head, and the head flew in the air and he was unconscious. So on 13th, when he regained consciousness, the day, the peace treaty was declared and the war got over. So one man army, and it's all because of the possibility thinking. And I tell you, the moment you think things are going to be possible, you will find your brain is so well designed, because in neuro-linguistic programming, what do we say? We help you to create an imprint in the head. And that is why today, neuro-linguistic programming is considered to be the biggest human science that can make anyone to be successful in any moment of time. So that's how this whole process goes. And they say, if you want to make something possible, make it as your imprint. Let this imprint be so powerful that it becomes motivating for you and it helps you to grow. Now, that's not only one story. Stories like this, people who have seen possibility in life, are many. Let me tell you another story of this person. I don't know how many of you know this girl. Okay, so you can browse these names on internet. You can find the success stories. So look at this girl. Had got she didn't have hands actually. It's the amputated hands she had. So one day she decided when she was a child, like a person who is differently able, the kind of challenge they go through. She was just going through the same challenge. One day while she was in school, she danced because her parents decided that if she's, differently able, make her live the life like a common person, not people who are differently able. And you know what she did? One day she decided when she was a child that from next day, she's not going to use this, this amputated hands. And she told, okay, I'm just going to be the way I'm naturally. And when she decided that, she was just like a common person, and she decided that my life has to be beautiful. And loads of success in her life. She is a very popular motivational speaker, all of you must be knowing. And interestingly, she did something no one can even think of doing. And you can browse her name to find out who is she. So her name is Jessica Cox from US. You know what she did? She actually flew in the aeroplane with the help of her legs, and which even people cannot imagine running it with her. Many of us, we know that it's not easy to learn, because you need a lot of physical perfectness, a lot of mental balance and all. And this lady could make it. And if you just read their life story, you will find they went into this thing. They found the environment was not successful where things were happening. It is just not going. They did not lose their hope. They had this imprint so strong in the mind that they wanted to be successful and they could do this. That's why what happens, these 6 levels in your life are called as magical levels. Whenever you decide something to do, stick on to that and keep on working on to that. You will find the life becomes really, really beautiful. So when you talk about what is possibility thinking, we say that thinking about the outcome, first you think what you want, then do not deviate from there. If you have decided what you want, just stay there and then find what are the ways possible to go there, and never ever, slightly even disturb that goal. Be there, find out the way which becomes successful, and then you will find you can make your own way to become successful in life. So that's called as the possibility thinking. So look at this. There is another successful story I'm going to tell you. So there is something, this is a washing machine, all of you know. So we are blessed. We have the ample supply of electricity. We have the machine we can buy, we can run. In a remote village in India, where there was a challenge of power electricity, there is a girl, school-going girl, who designed something for which she has been rewarded by many of the forums, many of the bodies. What she did in her village, when she found that there is electricity is a challenge, still, and she and her daughter, her sister has to do a lot of work and to clean the clothes. They came up with something which is called as a washing machine, which can be pedaled by human being. And they made it successful. I'm just showing you a 2-minute video of the success story of this girl. Look at it. Then I'm going to tell you more about, this process of possibility thinking, how you really can make it. Just, Dr. Sukhmeet Kalsi. Welcome, Dr. Sukhmeet. So, that's how the things, it happens. Just, I'm showing you this video for a moment. Look at that. So you might be saying this is just one of the stories I have given, which is about a successful, way to possibility thinking. But all of you know that stories like this are plenty. So people who have been achieving like this way, they actually make things always come possible. That is why what we believe that when we talk about this dimension of possibility thinking, what we believe that thinking possible is actually an attitude. If you keep this attitude within yourself, believe me, whether it is a job interview, it is a part of your life's game, it is a goal you decide in life to do, it is actually very, very possible. That's why generally what happens, the science that we follow for people, making people successful, and whoever today is successful, knowingly or unknowingly, they follow a mechanism which is quite well described in the science of neuro-linguistic programming. They say that you create an imprint and give it motivation. If both the things are together, because just an imprint may not work for you, create an imprint that get a motivation. If there is a bigger reason, cause for you why to create that imprint, it actually matches with the last level of your neurological level called as mission, and you just can make it possible. That's why possibility is a very easy way if you just think that the imprint is very powerful. That's why you can look at some people, Albert Einstein was just a clerk. He became a world famous scientist. Abraham Lincoln was a poor farmer's son to become the president of America. Homer was blind, become greatest Greek writer. Look at Helen Keller, blind, deaf and dumb, renowned writer. Oberoi, like that, stories like that's plenty. These people, even if at a particular period of time, they were not being considered to be someone in the globe, but what they did, they decided that I have a capability which is beyond measure and I can actually go and reach there. The moment they decided, and this picture is quite clear, that fueled motivation, the rest is the story. So if you look at, this picture, this is something which is always close to my heart. If you look at all these three, you will find they are not complete in some way, but they do not stop. That is why I believe on a quote to a great extent which says that incomplete is not incompetence. I might be uneducated, I might be untrained, I may not be completely having everything that a person to be successful in life they have, but if I have that mental imprint, that is good enough for me to go proceed and be successful. That is why we believe that incomplete is not incompetence, and people who believe in this, they all believe in that. Look at this people, all of them, if you read their own life stories, you will find all of them at some point of time, they had that trick of the trade in their head, and they say that if I have to be successful, I have to follow the simple rule of NLP called as have this imprint and have yourself flexible, then you achieve the big goals in life, and all of them could do. That's why what we talk about, there is something that we talk about in NLP. If you really want to go for a possibility thinking, some beliefs we hold on. Belief number one is we say, if one person can do something, anyone can learn to do it. That's why if I want to grow big in my life, if I know somebody has done it, I can learn it from them and I can implement on me, which is in NLP, we call it as the process of modeling. And by modeling, we make people and ordinary people to be extraordinarily successful. Then you say people already have all the resources they need to achieve that desired outcome. So people have all the resources. By the process of facilitation, you can just take this resource and use in the current memory or the present state, and that will give you the boost that you look for in the life. Another belief we believe is everyone is in charge of their mind and therefore their results. So whatever result I want to do, I can get it because I'm in charge of my mind. Then we say positive change always comes from adding resources. So if I think I'm not able to do something, for a moment I will hang up and say, hey, what is it that I need within myself to be successful? The moment I get it, that can always be designed or developed in our life. So these are some of the beliefs we believe, and we believe that the person with most flexibility in their behaviors will have greater influence over others. If I'm not flexible, then I may not be influential. So that's why, because to become possible in life, you always need to work with people. And since human beings are gregarious, we need to work with people that say the flexibility is the key for success. Therefore, our solution that we look for in life is always to create a choice. If we create a choice, life will not be on chance. Later, what we can do, we can actually move the life with beautiful things. Therefore, when we talk about what we can do to be, keep ourselves into the domain of possibility thinking, the steps can be recognize where you are stuck. So suppose somebody, you have a goal and you're not moving, find out, recognize where you are stuck. Second, recognize what you want. This gap is essential for you to know. Once you know that, recognize where you stuck and you know where you want to go, then what will be coming to your head is what resources I need to be successful. So that's why what you do here, you do not make yourself the effect, rather you become the cause. Because if you say the effect, the life is not happening good. If you just cry, you become the effect of it, you just will remain defect, you cannot grow. That is why come out of that and become the cause. You say, hey, what I can do so that I can fulfill this or minimize this gap. Therefore, you recognize the resources that you want to achieve it. And once the resources are clear in the head, it can always be constructed, and then you can find out, to be successful, what you should stop doing, what you should continue doing, and what you should start doing new. So if these three things are clear with you, this is your action plan, you should be following it. And finally, the two things you should look at is get your neurological levels in tune and act, and finally future pace. I mean, you think about that all time in life, whenever such challenges comes, you will be successful. These seven path, these seven tricks can definitely make you to achieve whatever you want to achieve. Therefore, remember, the greatest power in the world is choice. If you can create choice in your life, you will be very, very successful. So what we say, the choice is like this. it is always good to have big goals. But if you make the path difficult, you may not achieve it. That is why successful people who keep, bigger goals in life, they keep goals very big, they make the path easier. That is why as a coach, as a facilitator, or maybe when you work with yourself, what you got to do is always good to keep big goals, make the path smoother. If you make the path difficult, maybe you may not achieve. That is what we do whenever we think of possibility. We create choices so that the path is easier for us to achieve. So great things are not done by impulse, but by a series of small things brought together. That is why the path is a series of small things we keep on doing. As you must have seen, Ramya, when she made that washing machine, she did the series of small parts together, and that suddenly became, a complete breakthrough that she just got. That's why we can say, you can start a new life, create the imprint in your mind, strengthen it, and when the imprint facilitates your action, life starts renewing. That's the beauty it happens. So that's why we say that imprint of your thoughts can propel you towards achieving what you want. So the 3M principle is give it the motivation, act your momentum, and harbor your mission. If you just can do that, things will become really possible for you. So this is the point I wanted to tell to you. Now, if you have got any questions, you can ask me, and I will definitely be answering those questions.
Wow, that was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic, and I think it would have touched a lot of students' heart and mind. Absolutely, you made it sound so seemingly so simple, and that's all that it takes. Yeah, you just need to have that imprint. I absolutely love the word you used, imprint, and brilliant. So I would request, if there's any students who would want any questions, or anyone from the audience, any questions, please feel free to ask, and I'm sure Dr. Mangesh and Dr. Swati can take the questions. Any questions? Third from the last slide, the 7 points.
That is called as future pacing. The 7 point is future pacing. That means what happens? Most of the time, we get the way to be successful, but that helps for present. In future, when the same problem comes, that moment we again get fragile. Some of you might have seen, suppose you did very good in a particular examination, say at a particular exam, you know that you have the power, the competency to be successful, but maybe after 2 years, in another exam, you don't get that impetus again. That is why we say, if you are successful now, make yourself future ready or future, foolproof, having a foolproof future, so that in future, if the same thing occurs, just recall that you are already been successful, and that is going to drive you. So that is called as a future pacing.
Mr. Victor Oreval, he was our one of the keynote speaker for a recent HR forum that we had last week. And thank you, Mr. Victor, for joining. We are humbled. He was asking, how do you tackle a toxic environment?
Wonderful. Generally, every toxic environment, it appears to be toxic to me because within me, there is some resource which is not. I give you an example, okay? Suppose, not recently, maybe before few years, I met a person who went and who was very successful in a particular job. Then he left his job and joined another company. The moment he joined another company, what happened? After about 2 or 3 months, since he achieved the results very good, he became a victim of one of the person's anguish. So when he became the victim of another person's anguish, he didn't like going to the job anymore. He didn't like going to the office anymore. And even the person became little negative towards his own colleague, because one person is affecting, he could not emote it out. So he actually became negative to other persons. So when he was discussing with another coach, not with me, with another person. So this is to, case study, you have got it. And the coach asked what you can do here so that you will not find that person is having an anguish on me. He told, I just cannot tell it to anyone that I'm feeling threatened by this person. He told what you can do. Suddenly, since he was new, he was not able to reach to people who can help him. So what he did, one day he had a lot of courage because he was just new, 2-3 months in the company, and everything salary perk was good. So he didn't want to be threatened by anyone. So what he did, with a lot of courage, he went and spoke to the head of this is called an IT organization. So we have something called head is called DCS, that is called Development Center Head. So earlier he was not having that courage, but he just went and spoke to the DCH, and the DCS, what he did, he actually made him a module, particularly a module head. So when he became a module head, this person became parallel to him. So, sometimes we know that simple things we can do, but sometimes we do not do because we have a fear of taking that action, because our beliefs or values stops us. It says that if I go and do that, maybe I will be thrown out of the job, the environment may not actually do. So that is why what happens for the first moment, if I decide that do I have that courage, that resource to do, and we really can do that. So first thing is that we got to actually take steps. And if you take steps, what will happen? Two things will happen. Either it will be in support to you or it may not be in support to you. And most of the case, so there is a 50-50 possibility. If it supports you, very good. Does not support, there is another job for you. So that's what I can talk about, and things are a little easier for that.
Thank you, Doctor. I think there's Rhoda. Rhoda is a colleague of mine. She's a part of BEW as well. She's saying she found some of the ideas that you have covered very similar to the OB concept called learned optimism.
I love this a lot because, why I love this response, because I have been a professor of OB for a long time. When I started my career in a business school as a dean, long back in 1996, the first topic I took is OB. And I remember initial 6 months, it was very challenging for me because for OB, you need to understand a lot about human dynamics. But then I emerged as a very good OB professor. And this is something my subject. And let me tell you, now also I'm associated with a couple of universities and leading institutes. Many places, the simple paper of OB, organizational behavior, is modified with the inputs of NLP. Like suppose I look at a chapter called learning. In NLP, when we talk about, in OB, when we talk about social learning, in NLP, we have a very good mechanism called modeling. So most of the time, the chapter of learning is being, just modified with the inputs of OB, inputs of NLP. Suppose I talk about perception, then again, the part of perception is exactly the human communication model in NLP, which is the module 1. So rather than perception, because perception takes a mechanism called selection, organizational interpretation, that in NLP we call as delete, distort, generalization. So like that, what happens, we take the inputs of NLP and make the OB paper more practically driven, and which is something I just connected with so well, Professor.
Lovely. Thank you, Doctor. There's one question from Miss Asma Islam. Even without having any experience or training in a particular field, how important is it to have self-belief?
Wonderful. Goal setting happens first. When I have a self-belief that I want to achieve something, that happens first. Then decides what are the 6 neurological levels I'm encountering. If my belief is supported by the neurological level, the environment is good, I take the action. So then I check, is my belief obstructing me? Because this is what I just want to get it. Is my belief obstructing me? When I was working in in an education institute, I was the director of a business school. Suddenly I decided to quit the job. Then I wanted to start our own organization. When we did it, it was not a very easy journey, initially about 8-9 months, we really struggled a lot. Then we decided we have to do this. We should not leave this and go back to a job again. We said, no, I'm going to continue this. The moment we decided, believe me, a lot of belief change needed to be done there. So I was not trained on many aspects. So then, if the goal is solid, you take the trainings as and when required. And you take the training, strengthen a belief and proceed ahead. So that's why initially, even if you do not have the training, having a goal and achieving is successful. That's why if you look at the stories I showed of anyone, whether it is Simo Haya or anybody, he didn't have the training to bury himself in ice for 100 days. But what happens, the belief system that came later, it got strengthened because of the mental imprint he is holding, and that made him to be successful. That's why anybody who becomes successful in life, you just read their stories, they will find they decided what they want to do. Then that imprint became so stronger, they added motivation to that. There, the training, the belief changed, everything will happen continuously. So thank you for asking this question.
Right. Thank you, Doctor. Given the paucity of time, we'll just take one last call, and that's again from Mr. Victor. He's asking, what happens when the culture of the environment doesn't encourage innovation and the decision makers sometimes do not show any body language to change?
Wonderful. That is a very interesting question. There are two things we do. When you say that the decision makers, they do not encourage you for change and the environment is not suitable, what matters is your goal. Sometimes, if you find the situation is absolutely no for you, a wise person, sits from that situation, because the goal cannot be challenged by the situation. So if you can work on the situations, very good. If you can find ways, amazing. If not, you may look at getting into a very good environment. That's what some people, they change locations, they change they change the ground on which they can be successful, and they can just become successful. So that's why it goes.
Lovely. I think there's one more question, and that's again from one of our colleagues, Jennifer. Possibly with that, we would bring an end to the session. Mentioning NLP, just wondering, what is the NLP tool that can be used every day in life?
Wow, thank you very much. I think there are many NLP tools are there. So when we talk about NLP, what we do, I may take about 1 minute to explain, the easy thing of NLP. Suppose someone falls, someone has an injury and somebody goes for a treatment. What happens? They put an ointment on that, or maybe they do a dressing, they put it up like that. Somebody has a headache, goes to a naturopathic expert. What he does, he puts some elements of nature, maybe a mud or something on the body. If somebody has a headache or some pain, goes to acupuncturist. The acupuncturist puts needles across the body. When somebody has an aim and comes to an NLP expert, they do not do either of those. What they do, they just talk, because it's language. So by communicating linguistics, we create an imprint in the head. So some of the tools that always will make successful to people, one of the favorite tool I use is called Swiss. Then I use something called as a parts integration, because most of the challenge that we suffered from having dichotomous thinking in our head. So we run something called parts integration. We run something which is called an anchoring. Then we run something which is called change personal history. Suppose you have some past which is not allowing you to proceed ahead. We have a mechanism called change personal history. Like that, there are very popular mechanisms. So one I should also tell, which is called likes to dislike. Suppose you are liking something that is not allowing you to grow. You are disliking, think of a person disliking the workplace, how painful it will be. So if he comes to the workplace, he feels very jittery. So you have a mechanism called dislike to like. So the person who was liking the workplace, the person may start liking. That's why the NLP tools are believed to be very powerful, and we have seen that this is giving enormous result. So that's how it is all designed. So nice of you. Thank you very much.
Lovely. Thank you so very much for all of them who've logged in today. School students, university students, industry professionals from different countries. Mr. Victor again from Nigeria all the way. And our colleagues. And again, Dr. Swati, Dr. Mangesh, I cannot thank you both enough. Thank you on behalf of University of Stirling and SQA. Diplomas, thank you so very much. Absolutely humbled, and we look forward to many more sessions like this in the future. Please accept our heartfelt thanks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Shanti. Thank you so much.